So we have Disconnected that's out now. Can we expect more music from you this year and future?
I've got a reimagination of the Maneater, the big hit Maneater, which I recorded in Jamaica as a reggae song with some of the legends of reggae, which will be coming out in this late spring.
Hey friends, it's your girl Emily Curl coming to you from my virtual studio today. And we are joined by the one and only John Oates, who is half of the best-selling duo of all time, Hall & Oates. John, first off, welcome to our iHeartRadio channel. Let me first start by saying what an honor it is to talk to such a legend and to have you here today. So thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, well, thanks. At least you didn't say pleasure to talk to half a legend, which is also good too.
The full legend is here. Now, you have been recording music for so many years, decades. People have loved your music. You have new music out now. Is it still that exciting feeling that you get? Like, is it still there every time you release new music? Does that ever go away for you?
It never does go away. It's always, I mean, songwriters always are more interested in the new stuff they write. And of course, the audience always seems to want to hear the old stuff. You know, I always like to joke that just remember all those old favorites of yours, they used to be new songs at one point. You know, songwriters always, you know, get pumped and excited about releasing new material. And, you know, you just hope that people want to accept it and listen to it and take it to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about the new music. I've got to ask you, it's so cool. I feel like to see this next generation really grow up. You know, what we have on TikTok, songs are reemerging, they're reimagining songs. And a lot of them are also discovering some of those early favorites. Is it cool for you to see some of your music kind of get a second life in that way with a new generation?
Wow. Yeah. Second, third, fourth life.
Yeah, a lot of lives.
Our music's been around for a long time, and it's really amazing. It's kind of a moment in time. It's like a timestamp. You know, you've done it. That's where you were. That's what you were thinking about. That's the music, the style of the music. It might, you know, it might reflect the times and the technology of the era or whatever. But then you have a whole new generation who's reimagining the stuff that you've already done. And it's really cool to see how they retranslate it through their own perception and their own generational ideas and their own technology.
Disconnected, your new single that's out now. First, I gotta ask you, I read that you produce parts of this on GarageBand on your Mac. Is that true?
Yes, I am a highly technical individual, as you can tell. I started with GarageBand many, many years ago, actually, when it was first invented on a Mac, on a laptop. And I've been using it for so many years, and I was actually involved in a very small way with Apple in making some changes to it. Some things that I thought would be cool to have, which they incorporated. I was pretty proud of that.
Wait, what were the changes?
In the earlier versions of GarageBand, when you put it up, you know, you'd have your recording window and, you know, your samples and all your musical instruments or whatever. But I would always have to move the window to the side. I would have to put up a Word document as a separate Word document on the side so I could type some lyrics as I was working on the music. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, why should the GarageBand should have a very simple word processor incorporated into it so that I don't have to switch screens all the time. So I asked them, I said, can you guys just put up a little word processor? So now if you look in the upper right-hand corner of GarageBand, right next to the sample designation, you'll see a little word processor. You click on that, and that pops up. Now you can be recording your music and at the same time jotting down lyric ideas as well.
Okay, so you're a music legend, you're a GarageBand legend, you're changing the world.
Yes. You know what? No one has ever called me a GarageBand legend, but I love that.
I'm adding that to the intro next time, next interview. That's going to be in there. I think what's so cool to me about that is, you know, going back oftentimes, a lot of people that want to get into the music world or that, you know, they want to be an artist or a producer, it can feel like there's a lot of barriers to get in there of like, do I need this equipment or do I need this mic or all of this, you know, this studio? And sometimes I think it's nice to just think you can start from a simple basis. Do you agree that you can make great music anywhere?
You can, and it's been proven, you know, every day, millions of kids are just doing stuff at home, very creative, and you know the technology's all there now. No one can say that I can't do something. You know, I mean, if you can operate a laptop or an iPhone, then you can do a million creative things. And it's really that's what I love about it, is that the technology is not going to hamper you in any way. It's just a matter of how creative you can be.
Let's go back for a second. You've recorded 21 albums with Hall & Oates. You have your music out now. You've been in the music game for so long. How do you see the genre changing, and what's maybe something that you like that has changed since you first started releasing music and something that you wish was still the same from when you first started releasing music?
Oh, well, I guess it's a little bit of a cliche, but I guess, with what's happened with the digital technology and the virtual, world that we live in, is that it enables people to express themselves and be heard. The bad thing is that it enables people to express themselves and be heard. There's a lot going on. If you're a music fan, you've got to sift through a lot of stuff to get hopefully to the stuff that you like, or maybe discover something that's interesting. The amount of music that's being released every day is just, it's unbelievable. It's almost hard to process. It's hundreds of thousands of songs being released every day. So it's kind of crazy in that regard. But at the same time, there's some cool stuff happening.
So I was, again, reading. We're going to talk about your music video for Disconnected, but you were inspired by a fellow singer-songwriter, Taylor Swift, for the visuals. Is that correct?
I was inspired by her Visa commercial. When she gets in the elevator and there's like 12 of her. She's fantastic. She's so creative, and the new music videos she's putting out are amazing. They're like little mini full-length motion pictures. I love it. But yeah, I just thought it would be fun. I work with a great video director here in Nashville, and I said, how does Taylor do all that when she's multiplying herself? And he said, oh yeah, we can do that. Let's do it. And I said, well, all right, so we'll do kind of the low rent of the Taylor vid.
I thought it was cool too. I thought it matched like the sentiment behind the song Disconnected. You have multiple versions of you. Was that something that you did on purpose? Was that a part of the visuals you wanted to match the lyrics of the song?
It was multiple. It was the idea in the black and white portion where I'm sitting around dressed in my normal, street clothes, kind of what I would do on a daily basis if I was sitting down writing a song. We did that in black and white. It was kind of a cinema verite kind of thing. And then when we get on stage, then I turn into Oates the performer, which I've been a performer ever since I've been a little kid. I've been on stage since I've been 4 or 5 years old. And then, growing up listening to the great R&B in the 60s, with the Temptations and the groups that always wore cool suits. And I pulled out a Manuel sport coat with some rhinestones in it. And then I became my own background group, because on the actual record, that's me singing all the background. So I thought, well, hell, why not? And so we did it that way. Yeah, so it's a little bit of a mix and a match of kind of the guy behind the scenes and the guy on stage.
You talk about some of your earliest influences. If you can think back and remember, what was that first album growing up that you loved that made you want to get into music?
The thing is, I remember music as a little kid, even before rock and roll began. So I have to go back to the singles, the 45s, like stuff like the Everly Brothers, Wake Up Little Susie, and Elvis, of course, and Chuck Berry and Little Richard. They were this stuff that I cut my teeth on as a little kid, way back in the 50s. People didn't make albums in those days. It was all about single 45 records. And it's kind of interesting because we've come full circle. Now it's all about the single again. But I remember, probably when I was a young teenager, one of the first albums that I ever listened to was a Ray Charles album that a friend of mine's parents had. I love Ray Charles. I've always been a huge Ray Charles fan. And in fact, during We Are the World, during that video, Ray Charles was in front of me, right off my left shoulder. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And so I'm standing there going, wow, this is pretty freaking awesome. So just to be around Ray Charles was, just an honor and, something very special.
Are there any artists now, maybe a new and up and coming, that you're really inspired by?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm inspired by them, but I have appreciation for, a lot. I think a lot of modern pop music is really, really good. And it's being driven by the amazing technology that songwriters and producers are now, kind of incorporating. Songwriting is no longer just this pure thing where someone picks up an instrument and writes a song. The songs are being created by the technology that exists, Pro Tools and sampling and all this cool stuff. I love Bruno Mars. I like Owl City. I like Jim James, and there's so many people. I could go on and on.
I've said this so many times. You've had such an incredible career. You're still releasing music. You're still in the whole thing. If you could go back to the very beginning and relive it all again, would you do it all the same?
Yes and no.
Let's dive in. What would you change?
I would have taken my music a little bit more seriously and screwed around a little bit less. And I would have paid a lot more attention to the business side of things, which I didn't do. And I have some regrets about that. But, I can't have any regrets. I've been incredibly successful, and I've had this incredible, partnership for over 50 years, which is just a miracle that exists at all. Toured the world and made a lot of amazing, had a lot of amazing experiences. So no, I can't complain.
John, this has been so great. So we have Disconnected that's out now. Can we expect more music from you this year in the future?
Yes, absolutely. absolutely. It's a series of digital singles. I released a song called "Pushing a Rock" in November of 22, and we, took a little hiatus over Christmas, of course. But "Disconnected" just came out. I'm really proud of it. Very excited for people to hear that, and I'm kind of into the 70s R&B recreation. And so the next one that's coming out will come out. It's actually a cover that was written during the Vietnam War. And I thought, because of what's going on in the world, as we all know, I thought it was just as appropriate and just as important now to do that. So it's kind of a cover song. And then I've got a reimagination of the Maneater, the big hit Maneater, which I recorded in Jamaica as a reggae song with some of the legends of reggae, which will be coming out in this late spring. I went to Kingston, Jamaica, and recorded with some of the guys from Bob Marley and Toots and the Maytals and Peter Tosh's group. Actually did an authentic reggae recording in Kingston, Jamaica. Kind of reimagined Maneater, because originally when I came up with the idea for Maneater, I thought it would be a reggae song. And then, of course, Daryl and I changed it into the version that you hear. But I thought, wouldn't it be cool to take it back to kind of its original idea?
Yeah. Okay, that's amazing. And so you're releasing just like one throughout the year, one a month throughout the year?
Yeah, it's part of my strategy called Always On. So there's always going to be some kind of Oates music happening everywhere, and I'm doing acoustic versions of the same songs, just having some fun with it. And this is the first time I've ever done a recording project where there's no physical component. There's no CDs, no tapes, no vinyl. So it's totally digital. I've never done that before, and so it's a new world, and I'm kind of enjoying it.
In a way, does that take some pressure off of releasing music, not having the physical part of it?
No, it makes it even more stressful.
It makes it more stressful. Okay.
Because I have to have music all the time. It's the nature of the digital beast. You know what I mean? You've got to feed the beast. It's just like social media. If you really want to be in that world, you've got to be active constantly. Releasing music digitally is kind of the same. It's the same rules. You really got to keep it out there. You got to keep throwing things out there, keeping people interested, making people who aren't interested, and keeping the ones who are paying attention to you engaged.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a whole new thing. It's cool.
John, thank you so much for being here. This has been so wonderful chatting with you, truly.
Awesome. That was a great interview. Appreciate it.
Thanks for checking out our interview with John Oates. Make sure you stream his new single, Disconnected. It's out now on iHeartRadio. And don't forget to watch the music video too. And we can't wait to see you next time. Bye, guys. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Did you like that video? You can check out more over here. And don't forget to subscribe to iHeart right here. And if you're already a longtime fan, make sure you ring the bell down below so you don't miss a single video. Bye guys.